Hi everybody, I'm Melissa. Welcome back to Cloudmom. This is my baby Bracey. He's 8 months old, although he was 10 weeks premature. So in some ways he's closer to a 5.5-month-old than he is to an 8-month-old. You can see now that he seems to be nursing fairly well. But I wanted to film a video for you guys about breastfeeding challenges and just tell you all a little bit about some of the experiences I've had with Bracey, because it is a very, very challenging thing to do, breastfeeding, and at every stage you're going to face a new challenge, and the key thing is just to figure out how to handle it and to learn what works for you and to try to see if you can overcome these challenges. So anyway, with all that being said, Bracey's now teared himself off the breast, which is typical for a distracted 8-month-old baby. I thought I would tell you guys a little bit about some of the experiences I've had. The first major challenge I faced with Bracey is that he was only 3.3 pounds at birth. He was born at 30 weeks, so it wasn't for 4 weeks that he could actually take milk from the breast. I was really, really worried about this. Of my prior 5 children, 1 was a preemie, so he was in the NICU for about a week, but I never had the sort of 6-week NICU experience that I had with Bracey. So immediately when he was born, I had to start pumping, and they advised me to pump every 3 hours for 15 to 20 minutes. This was not enough for me. I was not getting any milk. So I began pumping for much longer periods of time on a really low setting. So every 3 hours I would start to pump, and I would leave the pump on sometimes for as long as an hour. Over time I went down to half an hour on a very, very low setting, and this really helped me to get a lot of milk. This was not the traditional advice, but it's what worked for me. So anyway, that's what I did for about the first month of Bracey's life. At that point in the NICU, I was able to nurse Bracey from the breast for about 15 minutes, and then often he would have a supplementary feed through a feeding tube that was coming down through his nose. He was released from the hospital at around 37 weeks, at which point we took him home. Then I faced a whole other challenge. And the challenge I faced there is that he was so used to bottles that it was really difficult to get him to feed from the breast, and he wasn't gaining enough weight. And for 2 different doctor's appointments that I had, the doctor wasn't happy with his weight gain. It was okay, but not great. So it was very nerve-wracking, and there was a lot of pressure on me to just give up the breastfeeding, only pump, and only give Bracey bottles. But I didn't want to do this because I knew from experience that when you start giving a baby a lot of bottles and you're only pumping, that it's really, really hard to keep up your breast milk supply, and nursing was very, very important to me. So what did I do? I just, again, really tried to stick with it and to give as few bottles as possible and to be really, really patient with the nursing. So I would nurse Bracey in the morning, during the day. I would do 1 bottle late in the day, 1 bottle at night. And over time, he did sort of come back to the nursing. But this whole issue of nipple confusion was a really big one for me. It's something that I dealt with for many, many months, and I have a lot of advice with regard to this issue in my baby's first year video series. The next challenge I faced with Bracey came at around 6 months when he started to eat solid foods. He was filling up on the solids, and I found him to be less hungry at the breast. So what I did with that was to give the milk first and to just try to be really, really patient. Now let's see if we can eat a little more. Just try to be really, really patient, give a lot of time to the breastfeeding sessions, and really just to try to encourage him to eat on the breast. And I have a separate video about that too. And now here we are at 8 months. What is the challenge I'm facing? What I'm facing is a very distracted baby. I have to take him into his room, sit in the nursing chair, dim the lights, not have other people around, music, distractions, in order to get him to nurse. And I have to wait. The trouble is that in order for him to nurse, I need to have the letdown. And in order for the letdown, he's got to be sucking. So when I manage to get him in here, he sucks for a bit, I get that letdown, then it usually kicks in and he does pretty well. He eats from one side, I then often go, right away to the other side, then I burp him, then I go back, but it's a bit in fits and starts. And he's a bigger, stronger baby, so he's both drinking a bit less breast milk. Babies at this age only need around 16 to 24 ounces a day because they're also getting solids, and he's eating more quickly. Now, with this whole issue of getting distracted, a lot of moms assume that the baby's weaning, that the baby doesn't want to breastfeed anymore. I would not make that assumption. I would just make the assumption that you have a distracted 8-month-old baby, and if you're interested in continuing to breastfeed, keep breastfeeding. It is a very, very rewarding thing to do, very healthy for your baby, and very healthy for you, mama. So keep it up for as long as you can. Anyway, thank you so much for watching Cloudmom.com, and check back in for more videos on the first year with your baby.